All right, everybody, thanks again for checking in with another one of my videos. And today we're in the Steyr Flooring warehouse slash laboratory. And I'm actually gonna get some carpet on my 4x4 stretching board today. And I'm not gonna use staples. I'm actually gonna hot glue it. And we're even going to make our ends look nice with a, when you wrap Christmas presents and you get all your nice corners. If you're familiar with CFI's True Cut method, same process we're gonna do here. So what I've done is I've laid my 4x4 on there. I have measured, where I want this seam up here. And what I'm going to do, or what I have done, is I've marked where the 4x4 goes, and I would remove the 4x4, and I'm gonna fill this all with hot glue and then put it back in. Now this isn't your ordinary hot glue. This is the, I'm using the Power Hold, but I think it's all made by Trax. But it's the extended open time. They say you get up to 5 minutes. I don't know if that's true or not. I do know that it's warm back here today, so this stuff's not gonna set up awfully quick. But I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this. All 4 sides we're gonna get, I'm gonna wrap them in hot glue. Stay tuned. All right, I got the first side glued. I tried just to roll in the 4x4, and I kind of missed my mark, but hey, this is floor covering 101. We just solve problems during the installation. So again, we're just gonna continue on wrapping our board with hot glue. Hey, one more thing I wanna share with you. What I'm doing prior to wrapping it is I'm taking my hook knife and just running right there where it needs to wrap that 4x4, and that's just so it'll crease better. It'll also wrap better. I just run that through there, but I only glued so far. I've just got it glued to about right there, and then what I'm gonna do is once that sets up a little bit, I'll come into here and glue this whole length here. While that's gluing, we'll do that side. Guys, there's a lot easier ways to do this using some other adhesives, but I've got a bunch of glue sticks. I've got some time, and we're in the laboratory, so it's all about experiments. So now the fun part, right? Got to bring this piece, cut it so it matches up with this piece. Full disclosure, nothing here was cut with a row pencil. Carpet scrap, just straight edge. So that's how I'm gonna do it, because I want to take my hot glue gun with a different tip, and I want to run it down that and like seam it together. So we're gonna try it. Let's see what happens here. So what I did is I ended up folding this so I could glue about to where my finger is back to the edge of the board there. I'm leaving this all loose. And the reason is when it cools, I need to be able to still pull this back, this piece here, and cut to this piece. So when I talked about seaming it together with the hot glue, this little tip right here is what I'm gonna put on there. So we're gonna let that cool for about another 5 minutes. Flip it over, and we'll start, I'll get everything cut, and then the slow seam together process. Well, hopefully with that little time lapse, you can see what I'm doing. But I'm just hot gluing the seam together. And yes, it is time consuming. So I'm only able to do maybe like that far, and I just want to get that seam put together. Now, another way I could have done this is I could have taken a scrap piece of carpet and wrapped the board and cut my seam on it, and then taken that measurement and transferred it over there and traced it out. But really, when you're in the laboratory, you've got to do experiments. So I'm gonna get this, the neat thing is we're gonna really try this out, see how well this seals up. because you can see, you know, when I pull the carpet back, you know, I'm shearing the piss out of that yarn. So we'll just see. I'm gonna let that set up before I start trimming on any of it. But yeah, a lot of work, but I don't know, I think it's gonna be kind of cool. So of course, even though this is a stretching board, I am gonna trim that seam up. I'm gonna try to get it so you can see the fuzzies there. But like everywhere I seamed it, I just sheared everything. But I'm getting pretty lucky. Now, I'm putting more than enough hot glue in there. So I'm gonna be honest with you guys, if you were down here, every once in a while you can feel a hard spot, which I'm actually good because I want that sealed up. I don't want that, you know, if this was a seam on your stretched in carpet, you know, it's kind of the same thing. We don't want that, we don't want them fuzzies coming out of it. We want them sealed up. So I'm gonna trim this up, and then I'm actually out of time today. But tomorrow, yeah, we're going to 4-corner that bad boy. Let's go. All right, guys, so now is the fun part. We're gonna make all of our cuts so we can put this together, like I said, like a Christmas package with the nice even 4 corners. And also, if you're familiar with CFI's True Cut method on the steps, this follows really the same principles. So first thing we got to do is we got to make some relief cuts. Now you can use multiple different knives. When I'm doing any kind of like upholstery type work with carpet, I like the square carpet knife blades. But in here, because I've got to make some relief cuts at my corners, at all these corners in here. Well, I'm not very good looking at the camera, looking in here, but at all these corners, I've got to make relief cuts. And I like to put in my utility knife just one of these trimmer blades you use in your wall trimmer. They're very, very sharp, very, very thin. And all we're gonna do is go to every corner on that post. We're gonna stab at that corner. We're just gonna cut straight back. And really, guys, if that cut's not like perfectly straight back, it don't matter. We're just making our relief cuts at this point. Stab and pull. Stab and pull. All right, I've got relief cuts. All right, so when doing any kind of like upholstery work like this, whether it's, you know, if you're wrapping, like in this instance, a 4x4 that we're gonna use for a stretcher board or a step, I have always liked to use reference points so I know what I'm cutting to. I'm not just folding pieces, cutting back. That's just the way I am. There's multiple ways to do things, but I'm gonna show you how to use just reference points doing this. So I'm actually gonna use my cushion back cutter here. I've got the blade up, so it's not out. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna connect corners. So I'm gonna go this corner to this corner. We're just making essentially a big X. And this will give you the great visual, guys and gals, if you're watching, on the what I was talking about, the 4 corners, I guess you could say, connecting everything. So you see that X right there? Hopefully you can see that in there. So this X is where all my, this center is where all my points are gonna meet. And I'm gonna show you an easy way to mark the carpet, make your cuts, and have this turn out beautiful. And it does take practice too, but this is not as intimidating as what you might think it is. So I've got my marker. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna fold this piece down as though I'm wrapping it on, and I'm gonna fold it down to that point. I'm then going to transfer where that point is on the carpet. So I've got my mark on here. Now, all I have to do so I can cut out this top triangle is I'm going to mirror this image onto here. And since I've already got, this is what I like about reference points. And so since I've got this reference point, what I'm going to do is cut from there to there and there to there. And I'm gonna show you how I do that here. This is another real simple way to do it, is to use tools, right, that we already have. Well, Not gonna lie, this is a little bit more of a challenge here, but I can make it work. I've already got a, you should have a cushion back cutter. This is a great way, if you guys are new to this, to learn how to do this, because I follow a lot of guys on social media that do stair upholstery work, and it's freaking gorgeous. Now, I don't do a lot of that, but doesn't mean I still like to know a thing or two about it. So then all I'm gonna do is cut, and I'm gonna do that 4 times on here, and then what we're gonna do is we're gonna bring these all in, glue them in. I thought this would be an interesting point to talk about here. I even added some light because my old eyes can't see very well, but this is the piece where I've got my seam up on top. So it's no different. I'm still gonna fold this, still gonna fold that piece over and find my reference point. Now I know my reference point's gonna be on this piece right here. Do the same thing, I'm just gonna fold him over, make my mark, and then when I pull it back, I'll just have to, it takes a little bit of work here, but we're carpet installers, that's what we're used to, is work, and we'll just connect the dots. Hopefully you guys can see this here. Connect that, just put it together like this, and then connect my corners to that dot. So now we got everything cut. I'm just gonna put a couple of these, whatever I can get with my hands, I'm gonna fold these in so you guys can see what it's gonna look like. And then I'm gonna go ahead and glue it. But you're just gonna fold in, hopefully that shows up. You see how that everything's coming together? All my seams come together. And this is where that hot glue comes in handy because it's gonna hold in here. It is a little challenging. A couple tools that I find that are handy to have when doing stuff like this. A good hook knife. I really like these. I think they're called carpet awls. But what I find these are really good for is like when you gotta really get in here and push these small areas down and in. You got hot glue, you don't want your dang fingers close to that. So I'm gonna go ahead and work on gluing these in. One thing you could, if you wanted to, hey, we got to seal all our seams, right? So when I get done spreading glue in here, I can make sure to run a nice bead of hot glue on there to seal that all up. And you don't need tons of this stuff, guys. You don't need it running all over the place. I mean, a little really does go a long ways. And like I said, this is where that carpet awl can come in handy. Just kind of push these edges down and into that glue. And I'm going to be really transparent with you guys here. Most of the time, these areas right here on the corner, if I'm going to do something like this, I'm throwing a staple in it anyways. I know, you maybe shouldn't do that, but sometimes just trying to hold that, the hot glue is just not really enough. And actually, what I'm gonna do, guys, I'm gonna show you this. I never showed you guys this cool little tip, but I prefer, you could use like your seam sealing glue sticks, but guys, I really do prefer these extended open time ones, these ones made for like putting down tack strip. I think it's just a stronger glue. Especially, I like the open working time on it. When you're doing something like this, you don't really want to be in a hurry. This is what's nice about this tip. You can really, like back into these areas here where some of that glue didn't get. I can really get it glued in good. And again, you just You really don't need tons of this glue. A little goes a long ways, and I mean that. It's gonna be a little tricky. I'm not getting my fingers in there. Ouch. I got my fingers in there. So I got the last one here. This is a little tricky. I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I'm gonna be surprised if I don't get any glue all over the place, but we'll just take our time. A little bit here, a little bit there. Just be real careful. Kind of folding that in. Trying to meet our ends up. Keeping it out of the glue. Sometimes that's just easier said than done. And I'm going to get these areas kind of mashed in. And again, this is why I like that extended open time on the adhesive, because you can work with it a little bit. So I'll probably let it set up a little bit longer before I get too aggressive with it. But when you get done, you should have something that kind of looks like that. So far I don't feel any glue all over the place. So, but we'll let it cool off here. We'll see what happens. And just like that, everybody, we have a wrapped 4x4 with hot glue. So it can be done. We've proven it in the laboratory that you can do it with hot glue. Now, truthfully, there's really no reason to do that with hot glue. A stapler would have been just fine because, again, we're going to use this as a tool. But it's one of them things, it's, you know, take pride in what we do, right? We're carpet installers, and those of us that are really good at what we do, really like what we do, we just take pride in everything that we do, even if it's just building ourselves tools. So thanks again for watching. Hope you guys have a great day. See you the next one.